Hey you and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, we're going to look at the story of Brady Oestrike. This case is set in Wyoming. Well, Wyoming, Michigan, not Wyoming. There old Brady Oestrike lived, and he was a fan of Craigslist. Now there are many strange and frankly creepy cases to emerge from that website, and this is definitely one of them. When Charles Openneer and Brooke Slocum needed 50 books and posted about it, this would lead them to Brady Oestrike. As always, things took a turn from there. So, what do you say we get into this bizarre and frankly frightening case? Let's go. Brady Oestrike was born in December 1982 to Richard and Christine Oestrike. The only boy of 4 children, he grew up very religious, at one point studying at the Montana Wilderness School of the Bible. He would also pop down to Haiti with part of the church group to help build schools and hospitals in return for listening to him talk about God. I'm not sure if that's a fair exchange. Brady would go on to become an electrical lineman, repairing power lines for a local electric company in Wyoming, Michigan. He also had the most beautiful dead inside eyes. Just wow, look at those. It's like staring into the graveyard. He's the walking definition of the uncanny valley. But all that's not surprising when I tell you what I'm going to tell you. Now, one thing he loved was medieval shit. Renaissance fairs, hell yeah! He collected swords and crossbows, totally badass bro. And he was also, apparently, get this, a big fan of the Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion. I mean, I don't know what that map is. Brady, fucking nerd.
Stop right there!
He was engaged to be married in 2013 to a woman he had met in 2002 at a small Bible school. She would describe him as her teddy bear. Really? This guy? Okay. But she would also say he was never violent. Anything like that. They broke it off anyways in 2013. Apparently it was mutual. Was it though? And she ended up moving to Canada. Though apparently she kept the $30,000 diamond and sapphire ring after they broke it off, so maybe that's what drove him nuts. Now those who knew Brady would describe him as a kind, gentle soul. Just not photogenic it seems. And after the breakup with his fiancé, he fell into a deep depression. Started writing just awful poetry. Let me read you a chunk. I know I am crazy, therefore I am not crazy, isn't that crazy? Wow, deep. Down a street that is lined with soft whispering birch, on one side a slaughterhouse, on the other a church. For blood can mean death, or indeed can mean life, and a man can be more when he has a good one. Okay, I'm not reading any more of that, because it's just fucking terrible. So soon after, to cure his depression, he got into old Craigslist, and well, you'll see. In May 2014, a woman placed a personal ad on Craigslist, seeking friendship and, hey, maybe a little more than friendship. Probably not what Brady had in mind, though. So she placed an ad. About an hour later, Brady responded, and they started yapping away to each other. He then offered her a place to live, as she wanted to move, and he drove over to her place. Before they left her home, he asked her if she wanted to get into a suitcase. As you do. She thought this was kinky as all hell, and agreed to. Then, on the journey back, he stopped the car and opened the suitcase and sprayed something in. She didn't know what it was, but felt very groggy, so presumably drugs, or whatever. Then, when they both got back to his house, he got her out of the suitcase and brought out the chains and the cage. He got her to be his sex slave, clean his apartment, and more or less do whatever he wanted, while she had a metal chain around her neck attached to the floor. This went on for about a month, until she escaped to a domestic violence shelter. However, one day Brady met her for lunch and was able to sweet-talk her back into coming back to the basement. And he was like, yep, get the chains back on you, come on. So what was happening before continued, and it would continue until about the end of June when she escaped for good this time. She escaped at the end of June for good because Brady beat the bejesus out of her, like, really badly. She ended up going to the police about it but didn't press any charges. Though what she did want the police to know was that there was children's books and children's sippy cups and stuff in his home. Brady did not have any kids or know anyone who had any kids. So, concerning. Maybe, definitely. So what would happen in about 2 weeks after she escaped would be similar to what happened to her, but with less consent than she gave, and by less I mean none. Though I don't know how many people consent to getting their head cut off.
I don't want to say Brady was the kind of guy that just wanted to kill people, but at the same time, I think he just kind of wanted to kill people.
I know all of this that's going on, it's from the front it looks bad, but there's always more behind it, so I hope it all gets exposed for everything it is.
He said he wished he can go back in time to an era in time where he can just kill people with his bare hands. And yeah, he mentioned going back to Viking periods. And
had we known that she was in there, had we had any knowledge or any information, we didn't know what role she played in this. We knew she was missing. There was some concern about maybe she was a victim that he had taken care of and had maybe disposed of the body or whatever. We had no idea.
What motivates? Is it just evil?
Yeah.
On the 2nd of July, 2014, 18-year-old Brooke Slocum made a post on Craigslist. I need $50 by 3:30 p.m. today. I can pay you back later tonight, but I need gas and some mess quick. Everyone has bronchitis at my house, and I do not want to get sick. I'm 8 months pregnant and my lungs are all squished, as is. If you could help me and my daughter, we'll greatly appreciate it. 10 full days later, Brady Oestrike stumbled across it on Craigslist using the name, his username was Mike's Hard. Maybe I should use that name. I can host. What are you thinking? I'm 25. Now Brady was 31, not 25, and the reason he replied in the manner he did, and the way he did, was that Brooke would often post on Craigslist, bang for cash. Brooke Slocum would often use Craigslist for selling sex, but according to those who knew her, it wasn't her choice. Basically, her boyfriend, 25-year-old Charlie Openneer, was her pimp, who would go with her to meet these guys. And he did with Brady, by the way. She was basically just being sex trafficked by Charlie. Her father would later say Brooke was deeply impacted by the divorce of her parents and willing to do whatever it took to keep her new family together. And while she could barely feed herself, she would regularly give money to the homeless and pack lunches for them. Under Charles's direction, she would post on Craigslist, "Hello, a little about me. I am 18, 5'3", about 120 pounds now and still growing. I happen to be 8 months pregnant with a beautiful white Korean baby girl. I am white and petite, short brown hair and green eyes. Father of my child and I are sort of involved in this weird open relationship." So, back to the conversation between Mike's Hard and Brooke. So, she replied to his last message 10 minutes later, saying, well, we are looking for donations if possible. Kinda in a tight spot and we have a baby on the way. As far as the fund goes, though, there won't be any mail. Brady then offered $120 and said he could give her a ride, to which Brooke replied, "No, we can travel, just can't host us all. Where would you like to meet up?" Brady said, "I'd like to," this part was left blank, so let's just say it said bang. "I'd like to bang outside in a park, around 11:30. Is that okay?" I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble for indecent exposure or anything. I can't go to jail being 8 months pregnant. It's cop-free. It's a park, but behind it are lots of woods. No cops at all. It seems then that they met at Gizon Park. Charles, Brooke, and Brady. And after that, Brooke Slocum and Charles Openneer went missing on July 12th, 2014. The next day, on July 13th, 2014, a man phoned the police saying a guy wearing a white mask was peering into his car at Gizon Park, which is frankly terrifying. When the police popped by, they found Charlie Openneer's car. It looked abandoned, and so the police would come by over the next few days, putting the abandoned sticker on it and all that shit, and would search around a little bit. On July 16th, near the park, they found under a pile of sticks Charlie Openneer's headless body. It was determined that his head had been removed after he had been killed, but they found no head, so didn't exactly know what had happened. And the police, with Brooke still missing, they go to her and Charlie's apartment and find a conversation between Mike's Hard and herself on Craigslist. Using a bit of cyber sleuthing, time to hack, they find out Mike's Hard is Brady Oestrike. Investigators found an email linked to Mike's Hard and linked that email to another, then to a Facebook account for a Jote Amos, which was linked to Brady Oestrike. That link was made on July 17th. The police then apply for a search warrant, as they're starting to thinking, wow, maybe she's been kidnapped. But while they're waiting to get that search warrant, they set up shop outside Brady's home thinking, well, what they were obviously thinking. They did this on the 17th of July. So while they were parked up outside Brady's home, waiting on that search warrant, little did they know that inside things were not going well for Brooke, and they would just be a couple of hours late. At about 9:15 in the PM on the 17th of July, it was 5 days since Charles and Brooke went and met Brady. Brady, knowing the police were watching his home, got into his car and sped off. A high-speed chase ensued. It seems that Brady had become aware through news reports that Charles Openneer's body had been found, and, well, he needed to dispose of something else. Eventually, Brady crashed his car into a rampart. Inside his car, the police found Brady dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And in the trunk of the car, inside a suitcase, they found the body of 8 months pregnant Brooke Slocum. She had been strangled to death. She had been alive in his house for a few days, and she had actually been killed and placed in the car hours before the police started staking out Brady's home. Her unborn baby, Audie Lynn, did not survive.
As part of our ongoing investigation, about 9:15 this evening, we were in the process of preparing a search warrant at a home in the city of Wyoming in regards to the ongoing homicide investigation that started yesterday. As part of that investigation, we had developed a suspect. While we were waiting for that search warrant, the suspect left the home. Based on information that we had prior to the issuance of the search warrant, our TAC team had been called out. We believe that the suspect did have assault-style rifles in the home. So the SWAT team was here. Driver was dead of an apparent gunshot wound, self-inflicted. As they secured the car and opening the trunk, discovered the body of our missing 18-year-old female.
The police then entered Brady's home, and it was a house of horrors. Yeah, it was bad. Detectives found dozens of guns, as well as restraints, ropes, sex toys, swords, stun guns, a sex slave contract, and other items in his home. His house was an absolute shithole. Apparently he had just stopped using the toilet and just pissed in cups everywhere. It was just gross shit everywhere. And they found videos too. Him casually preparing his torture chamber. Here is him getting ready to go and meet with Charlie and Brooke. Brooke Slocum had been tortured for 5 long days. She had been repeatedly assaulted and forced to smoke weed by him. I don't know, maybe to try and calm her down. This is footage of him getting all the equipment ready. In one of the videos, he made her give a statement that they were only role-playing, so that she could have a true abduction, kidnapping, and ransom type experience. And a neighbor would later tell the police that she had heard screams coming from Brady's home over the previous couple of days. They also found a map in the basement with pins in it. Now, there's not much reason to believe he was doing a Israel Keys, but probably not. Hopefully not. The police did say, however, that the map was a concern to them. The FBI were actually brought in to aid the investigation and look into whether Brady's online activity included any other potential victims, and would take a look at the map as he had worked as a lineman and had travelled out of the state many times. Though whether he just tracked the places he'd been, or there could be something more to it, is unknown. So take from that what you will, but it's probably nothing good.
I continue to piece together the Craigslist murders that claimed the lives of a young couple and their unborn child. Today, for the first time, we're hearing from a close friend of killer Brady Oestrike, who said Oestrike called her in the midst of the crime. Ken Kolker spoke with her today. Ken joins us in studio control.
Sue, she says he called her 2 Sundays ago, apparently the same day he started holding Brooke Slocum captive, but acted as if nothing was wrong.
He called with the normal, hey Chica, how you doing?
It's possible that by then he had already killed Charles Openneer and was holding Openneer's pregnant girlfriend, Brooke Slocum, in his Wyoming home. Police say he held her captive for 5 days before strangling her on Thursday. Her body was found in his trunk after Oestrike shot himself during a police chase.
Thought about it a lot. And his actions and attitude over the phone were no different than normal.
The day before his, the chase and his own death, Brady was actually supposed to fly to Vegas. To do what, you ask? Well, to meet another woman he had met on a fetish site. He actually just cancelled, though, the day before, knowing that, shit was getting pretty real. So after everything that happened, this woman just happened to Google his name, as she didn't know, and then found out about, everything. So she dodged a bullet. Brady didn't.
We want to tell people to be extremely careful about who they speak with on these internet sites. Anybody can be anybody behind a computer screen.
No, I did attempt to speak with both families of both of the victims today. Neither of them wanted to speak with us on camera, but Slocum's father did say over the phone that he appreciates all the prayers, all the support that they have gotten from the community. He also says that he feels for missing mom Jessica Herringa's family because he says at least his family has closure while her family does not.
At the time, it was thought he may have actually been connected to another missing persons case, the Jessica Herringa case. She disappeared not too far away, but of course, there was another just giant piece of shit behind that one.
Criminal scum.
Breaking now, a murder victim's remains found almost 5 years after Charles Openneer was brutally butchered in one of West Michigan's most twisted murder cases.
5 years later, in 2019, the skull of Charles Openneer was finally found, about a 30-minute drive away on a remote farm. It was identified through dental records, and it seems like Charles was shot in the head by Brady before having the head removed. Since this tragic event, police have continued to investigate whether or not Brady is connected to any other crimes from social media sites. But what led to this, what caused him to snap and do what he did, remains a mystery. It's hard to find out much about his early life, so if the signs were always there or not, we don't know. Even friends who spoke to him on the phone during this time said nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Though it seems like he had jumped just headfirst into some kind of fantasy life after his fiancé left, where he could do whatever he wanted. Described by the local police chief as pure evil from start to finish, in a case that just leaves us with troubling questions. And that's the story of Brady Oestrike. Yeah, I'd never heard of him before, and it's a case where there's not really much to take from it. There's not really much of a learning experience here other than, just be careful about who you talk to online, which is nothing new. But yeah, just a very, disturbing case.
Police say that Brady Oestrike was the brutal killer. He killed himself a week ago as police moved in on him. And tonight, his former fiancé is opening up, saying that she is shocked by what he did.
The guy I know and the guy who did this are two different people. Apparently, in the last year, he made some bad choices.
You think? Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. I will see you, as always, real soon in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Mike out.